Hello everyone, I'm Game Masterdon and I am back from Gen Con finally, and I just wanted to answer the question for myself and maybe for all of you. Was Gen Con worth it? I went out there to Gen Con as a professional game master running 3 games, all Mutants and Masterminds, all homebrew, for Green Ronin Publishing, and they set me up with a nice early nab on some cheap hotel stay, which was fantastic because the hotel turned out to be the Sheraton out at kind of way out though. It was about 20 some miles from the convention. Indianapolis is way too big for its own good, and I noticed over the week that most of the people there were taking Uber rides down to the convention, which means that they were Ubering there and Ubering back for like $100 a day. But I noticed that there was a bus stop directly outside of the hotel, and the other end of the bus ride was 4 blocks from the convention center. So if you go to Gen Con, forget about the Ubers, find yourself a place on the bus line, and all the buses go downtown to a place 4 blocks from Gen Con. You don't need to take Ubers. I must have spent, I think, $20 on the bus. Anyway, the hotel was fantastic, very accommodating for all the Gen Con fans who were there and all of the staff. Anyway, Sheridan, 5 out of 5. The commute on the planes to and from, that was terrible, to say the least. My flight out was the same day that American Airlines' whole system crapped out on themselves nationwide, and all their planes were getting delayed and canceled. Mine got canceled about 2 hours before I was supposed to leave, so I had to scramble for new last-minute tickets, which were 3 times the price as the tickets I bought in the first place. Airplane travel on the way home was also bad in a different way. That one, everything was delayed in the entire airport, both airports on my 2 flights. And that was almost better, more tolerable, because everyone in the airport was delayed 3, 4, 5 hours. So at least there was a bit of camaraderie there. So overland national travel, I would give a 2 out of 5. I only don't give it 1 star out of 5 because I didn't get sick. So I think people are finally getting back on that whole not traveling when you've got illness train, which I appreciate. As to the games that I ran, I would have to go 5 out of 5. I had a blast. This was my first time GMing at a con. Not only that, but it was also the first time GMing for random pickup groups. The first one was kind of a bulk scoop of random game store attendance on any given day. The second group was a family, mom, dad, son, daughter, son's friend. And that was kind of a blast because I did not expect that. So having to pivot into a more family-friendly vibe from my usual cursing, violent, nonsense buffoonery was a nice challenge, I would say, that pivot. We kept the buffoonery, but we took out, the gore and the cursing, etc. The final group was all old hats, all grognards, as you might consider them. And they all had voice acting chops through the nines and developed their characters in, like, the blink of an eye. And frustratingly, my games all started with a half an hour of, this is Mutants and Masterminds, here's how to play it. But these guys, when I asked who's played Mutants and Masterminds, every single one of them raised their hand. So I was like, well, there goes half an hour of our time, which was my main challenge for all of these games. Was, in most of my games, I average about 3 hours. So I had 4-hour blocks, and filling that whole 4 hours was tricky, because my games are scenario based. So I set up the scenario, then put the players into it, and then, improv through the whole thing. So it's very tricky when they start coming up with fantastic, easy solutions to keep that ball rolling through the whole 4 hours. Overall, I'd say my game running, I'd give it 5 out of 5. It was a great experience. I would definitely do it plenty more times, as many times as I can, to be honest. As to the convention as a whole, once I finished those games, I didn't have anything else to do. I didn't think to do anything or put anything into my schedule or buy tickets to anything. So Friday night, I was scrambling to find stuff that hadn't filled up yet, and I got a ticket to Dungeons and Darby, one of my favorite comedians with a couple of YouTubers I recognize playing D&D comedy style, and that was fantastic. I had a great time there. Then I went to a how to get into professional dungeon mastering seminar, which was kind of an ego boost because all of the big tips that they were handing out were stuff I was already doing on my own getting into professional game master journey. So that was very nice, which actually reminds me I need to get in touch with one of those seminar DMs. I've got their card. Anyway, after that, Sunday came along, and I met up with one of my online players for the first time. That was a blast. And then I met up with Inspired GM, who I know from the GM Philosophers Discord server. I hang out in there all the time, talking to other game masters, a lot of professional game masters in there. And he took me around all over the con floor to introduce me to all of the publishers and authors that he runs games for at cons like this. And that was when it really felt like I was doing what I had set out to do the most at this Gen Con operation, was to meet people, hand out my business card, start doing that networking. And since that really didn't kick off until I met with Inspired GM, it really sold to me that if you're gonna go to Gen Con, make friends, bring friends, and arrange time and dates to meet up and do stuff with other people, because walking around the floor by yourself is exhausting and lonely. Even though there's a huge crowd of people, if you don't have someone there by your side to chat with or lean on, you're just kind of reaching out to random people, which does work. It does work, especially for someone like me who could, do that easily and comfortably. But a lot of the people you're going to be reaching out to in that scenario are not really going to be comfortable with a stranger right away. So anyway, next time, more friends, more arrangements to meet up. Con floor, I would give it a 4 out of 5, if only because of that came in late, could have done a lot more. So overall, aside from all of the national travel on the airplane chicanery, I would give it a huge worth it, I'm going to say. And so that kind of just leaves making sure I have my finances in order so I can go next year. Maybe even do more games for Green Ronin or branch out. We'll see. In the meantime, I am making new listings on StartPlaying for Daggerheart dungeon crawling adventures. You can kind of see down in the corner here my hand-drawn dungeon in the works. Maybe I'll make some videos showcasing some of that next. Anyway, like, subscribe, tune in, and enjoy the rest of your day, and I don't know, roll dice or something. All right, get out of here.